Hey guys, welcome to Rosie's Dessert Spot. In this episode I'll be teaching you how to stencil onto your cake using a cake steamer. So taking a cake steamer, or a regular steamer really, and going around the cake twice just to make it a little bit tacky. Then I'm taking my stencil, applying it onto the cake, making sure I pull it nice and tight, and add 2 pins into each corner, so we've got 4 in total. Now I start pressing that stencil down onto the cake because it's a little bit tacky, going all the way around, and that way when we apply our powder it doesn't reach underneath the stencil. Then go over with your cake steamer again, maybe 2 to 3 ways around, and then taking some edible gold dust and a small brush, holding the stencil down and applying that dust onto the tacky fondant. And I'm making sure to press down, that way the powder doesn't reach underneath the stencil and we create nice sharp lines. And you can do one colour all the way around, or if you like you can even go in with a second colour in the middle as I did. And these are just luster dusts as well. And they're 100% edible. There's some of them that say non-toxic. They're usually not 100% edible, so make sure you search for that 100% edible label just to be sure. And then when I apply all of the powder, I go back, I kind of dab all over and brush off any excess. Then to remove the stencil, you remove your pins and remove all 4 pins. Not as I did here. I completely forgot about the other 2 pins on the other side, and I'll show you why you should take all 4 out at the one time. So you can see it's really sharp around the edges of the stencil. Our little imprint there, so this is actually a really effective method. And then I forget that I have the other 2 pins there, and I end up lifting my fondant and it looks terrible, and I got this huge gaping hole. Then I press it with my little gold dust infected fingers and it leaves a mark. So I'll make the mistake so you guys don't have to. And then line it up on the other side, pop in your pins again, and repeat the steps. Now I didn't put my pins in all the way. I wish I had, because it would have held the stencil to the cake a lot better. But anyway, using the same methods, just holding that stencil down against the cake for security, and then just dabbing that powder in between the holes of the stencil, and then brushing off all the excess. Then take out the pins and slowly and gently peel that stencil off. Now in the back there wasn't quite enough space to make 2 zigzags, so it's going to look a little off, but that's okay, that'll become the back of our cake. Then once you're done, look out for any empty spaces and just go over them, filling them in with powder as needed. And all those smudges actually come off with a little bit of water and a napkin, so you can make it clean up. Then to adhere the flour, I've put the flour into the straw and I've cut it just a little bit underneath the wire for safety, and I'm feeding it through the very top of the cake, sort of angling it so that it's facing me. It's not so much facing the ceiling, to say. Then once you're done with that, add a little bit of a white ribbon at the bottom and seal it off, and you're sweet. And that's one of the many ways that you can use a cake stencil. I've used powder here directly onto the cake, but you could always use a paint, so you can mix it with some alcohol, some vodka, or some rose water works as well, and you can just paint into the empty spaces as well. And just be sure that the stencil you're using, if you're going to use this method with the cake steamer, that the stencil is nice and clean, because it is going to be sticking to that cake pretty well. And that's the cake tutorial for this week. Thanks guys for tuning in. Hope you learned something different, maybe try out something new, and I will catch you next time.